International tourist arrivals are projected to reach 1.8 billion persons by the year 2030. And that is an increase from the 2017 figure of 1.32 billion. And remember that just as recently as 1995, total tourist arrivals around the world was only 527 million people. And so if you look at the almost $7 trillion that is supposed to be earned from tourism, then definitely Lagos State positioning itself as a favorite destination for tourism in order to get a share of this huge cake is a very wise decision by Governor Ambode and his team. Globally, the business volume of tourism equals or even surpasses that of oil exports, food products, and automobiles. Then you can appreciate the potential of Lagos State when it comes to developing popular, marketable, and profitable attractions for tourism to flourish.
Mr. Mahama argues that tourism cannot be developed to become a major driver of the economy without the development of key infrastructure.
The tourism plan must therefore not focus only on what new tourism facilities to develop, but how to ensure that the state is made attractive to tourists, improved and well-developed quality medical services, enhanced transportation services, high-speed mobile and data services, and of course, guaranteed security of any visitors to the Lagos State. The indicators that attract tourism in many locations include urbanization and rising incomes. And many locations in Africa, Lagos being a key example, are experiencing such levels of rapid growth and urbanization.
To develop a tourism sector that is sustainable, the former president draws the state government's attention to 4 critical guidelines by the United Nations Tourism Organization. They are tourism policy and guidelines, investment, and competitiveness.
It means, among others, that the Lagos State, in this case, should put in place adequate legislation and regulation sufficient to control and guide tourism development and practices. It also means that the responsibility for tourism development and promotion should be clearly vested in a specific agency or ministry and supported by all other governmental agencies and appropriately skilled and well-trained human resources. Note, ladies and gentlemen, that these steps must be taken to ensure that the private sector is also able to effectively partner governments to develop more local tourism destinations. The Lagos Tourism Sector Plan must be competitive if it is to succeed as a force for development. You therefore have to measure and monitor the performance and impact of the sector. Your efforts will be better complemented with policies that provide an enabling environment for the development of small local enterprises.
Others are human resource and sustainability of the natural and cultural environment.
Careful planning of human resources involving consultation with private enterprises and employees' representative is needed to ensure that the sector can fully sustain its employment creation potential and have a sufficient supply of suitably skilled labor to meet future growth. This implies working hand in hand with local communities to protect the objects of tourist attraction.
A word of commendation from the Minister of Information and Culture for the role the state government has been playing to support tourism development and recent efforts by the federal government in developing the creative industry.
One of the first things I did when I became Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism was to actually organize a national summit on tourism and culture in 2016. As a result of that summit, we were able to fine-tune and revise the National Masterplan on tourism. And as a result of that summit also, we were able to make a bid, and we won the hosting rights for the United Nations World Tourism Organization CAF meeting, which is taking place between the 4th and 6th of June this year. And once again, I want to thank Governor Ambode for the very robust support he has given to this summit.
Professor Pt.2 presents a paper on financing tourism, identifying options to fund the sector.
The budget of Lagos is only 2.3% of the GDP. That cannot drive what is required for the infrastructure growth. So most of the funding of infrastructure has to come out of sources other than government budgets. And it is in creating an enabling environment for that kind of funding to take place that we must concentrate and create opportunities for. An example that I like to give with tourism is Gambia. Gambia with its very limited resources. It was this role of a tourist. Some, Dutch guys, sea and land is important. Lagos is particularly fortunate, but we don't do enough with water-based infrastructure. And I know that there are some activities in the works, but we should market investment possibilities in those areas and get private investors to go in and play big in those areas, because I think those possibilities are within us.
Panel discussions on the development of the Lagos State Tourism Masterplan include the review and strategies for the Lagos tourism ecosystem for economic and social benefits and creative content as tourism sector panacea.
Our sea is a little bit rough, but once you have these groins, every 500 meters or so, what you're doing is you're developing bays, protected areas. Can you imagine? All the way down our coast, all the way to Epe, bays, protected areas where people can come and plant coconut trees, come and swim, come and enjoy themselves. Those people in England, they will travel 4,000 kilometers just to sit in the beach for one day.
By the time we explore tourism promotion, we engage contacts at the international community. You can't do tourism by being within Lagos or Nigeria alone. We must cut as friends the American African Travel Association.
Nigerians in diaspora are huge as well. Huh? They want to come home, they're growing. Then they're heritage Nigerians. So just have one-stop shop. They go on to www.visitlagos.com, and everything they need to know in terms of your targeted market, they can get that information.
I know you have great resources for oil and so forth, but your cultural resources are greater. And I really feel that you have a fantastic opportunity that the governor already is investing in to develop, first of all, the J.K. Randall Center for Yoruba Culture and History, and also the Lagos State Museum, which will have your national collections.
Inputs and recommendations made from the summit will be put together in finalizing a focused and achievable tourism master plan that will be used to develop tourism as a major earner in Lagos State.